Great pleasure to welcome to the program a woman who's going to be performing down in our area coming up on Saturday, October 24th over at Holly Hall on a benefit concert. She's really one of the great young singers out there, and she'll be doing her selections from her new CD. And we welcome Suede to the program today. How are you, Suede?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for calling me a great young singer.
Well, you are. You sound young. We've never met in person, but seeing your picture, and you look like a young person, like me.
Excellent. That's what that works, and it's radio. Who would know?
That's right. I didn't mention the CD name. It's called Dangerous Mood, so I enjoyed listening to it. I got a copy of it a few weeks ago at the station. It's a great CD.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, just kind of reading your bio a little bit, you kind of run the gamut of different types of music, and then you kind of decided at one point, I'm gonna chuck that a little bit and just kind of focus on the jazz and blues idiom. Am I right about that?
Well, yes, it's kind of interesting because that always was a very strong influence for me. I listened to a lot of that when I was growing up. Both my parents were big jazz and especially jazz fans. My dad was also a huge Dixieland fan, which I'm sure is where the trumpet influence came from. But yeah, I've played all kinds of music, everything from legit classical stuff to rock and roll, light rock, folk. But there always was the jazz influence, so it was a really natural progression that I sort of have moved into that more as I've matured, shall we say. Of course, I'm still young, but I am mature.
Well, a lot of these songs, and I've been a fan of them since I was a little kid, but as you grow older, the songs mean more to you, don't they?
Absolutely true. Yeah, they definitely do. And I've also always had a great love for great lyrics. And, you know, the jazz medium always has great lyrics. So that, again, it was just a natural progression for me to lean that way.
Now, this CD you did, Dangerous Mood, and just kind of reading some of the notes on it, I mean, you worked with some great musicians up in New York City, and you recorded it at Bennett Studios, which I understand was owned by Tony Bennett's son. Is that right?
That's absolutely true, and it's also where Tony has recorded quite a few of his CDs, recent CDs, including his duet CDs. So it was a pretty amazing place with some great energy to create the project, for sure.
Did you record this like they did in the days of with Tony and, of course, Frank Sinatra and Dean and all those, with the musicians in studio with you, right, for the most part?
Absolutely, the whole thing. We had the whole, varying from 9 pieces to 14-piece big band. They were all hand-picked players. I went, my core trio is based in New York, and I went and auditioned people and hand-picked players that are in the big band. And as you say, they're just phenomenal musicians. Just a total thrill to work with all of them.
It must be great when you can get up there, sing these great songs, many of them written 60, 70 years ago, and then you're working with musicians that are really moving like that, particularly a big band. It's nothing better, I guess, as a singer, right, to be able to do that.
It's always been a dream of mine. I'm one of those people who knew very early on as a little kid that I wanted to make my living as a singer, as a musician, and touring and seeing the world, and I feel incredibly privileged that I've actually been able to figure out how to do that. And I'd always wanted to sing with a big band, and I was approaching my 25th anniversary of making my entire living as a musician, and wanted to do something to market. And thought, you know what? This is the time. I'm going to build the big band, and if you build it, they will come.
That's right.
So that's what we did.
Well, especially nowadays when it's not as easy as it maybe, I guess it was never easy, but it's tougher nowadays as a musician to make it, and particularly in the jazz idiom, but you're doing it, so congratulations on that.
I am doing it, thank you. And I for as, rejection is a given in the industry, it always has been, and the fact that I've been able to do this, I'm now in my 26th year, as they say, and I owe all of that to an extraordinary group of fans, many of whom have been with me from the very beginning and keep telling all of their friends and showing up at the shows, and I feel very, very privileged. Absolutely.
Who are some of your influences growing up in this type of music?
Oh, well, the classic, of course, Sarah Vaughan, Ella. I love to scat. I see scatting as one of my most sort of artistic directions that I go in the work that I do. Also, Tony Bennett, who I think far and above is the best song stylist ever. And I think I probably learned a lot about phrasing from Tony. And in fact, I just saw him at the Newport Jazz Festival, and he's still got it. He's just, boy, that's something you can't be taught. So he was a great influence. I was a huge fan of Pearl Bailey as well.
Oh, yeah.
A little kid, and her great sense of humor, and that's a major element to what I do in my live show as well. Louis Armstrong, again, with the trumpet, and just his extraordinary musicianship. So, that's sort of the ilk. Nancy Wilson.
Oh, sure.
A long list. Shirley Horn is one of my all-time heroes. Again, with phrasing and song styling. So that's the group.
Well, one of the great things, you mentioned Pearl Bailey. I remember watching her on TV as a kid growing up. She had probably the best time singing those songs that everybody. If she had a good time doing it, she would throw in little ad-libs here and there. I mean, you don't see that as much anymore. So I'm glad you're bringing that back.
Absolutely, and she was a huge influence for me. And I hope that people get a similar sort of a sense of that joyfulness when they come to one of my live shows. Because I still got that as a little kid watching her.
It seemed like she was ad-libbing as she went along. I mean, it was that type of entertainer. Well, she was kind of a vaudeville performer, so I think that's where she got it. But it was great to watch her. Yeah, great performance.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be in town here in Sarasota on the 24th, which is a Saturday, 8 o'clock show. It's going to be over at Holly Hall, which, as the folks down here know, is not too far from the Van Wezel on US 41. It's the Beatrice Friedman Center. It's also a benefit concert. It benefits a couple of groups down here, Diversity, the Voices of Sarasota, and the Suncoast Cathedral MCC, so I'm sure you're going to get a good crowd out there.
Yes, I think so. I've been there several times, and we always have a great time, so I'm really looking forward to being back.
You have an appreciative jazz and blues audience down here, Suede, so I'm sure they're going to love it.
Excellent.
Suede, it's great to have a chance to talk to you. The name of the CD is Dangerous Mood. I guess that's available everywhere. Why don't you give out your website, too? People can get more information about you.
That's perfect. It's Suede Wave. Suede, spelled like shoes. Suede Wave, like one wave on the ocean. SuedeWave.com.
Great. Suede, look forward to seeing you on the 24th, and thanks for being with us today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Doug.